You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
You tried to hold us down.
Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to the You Can Make a Difference show. On this show, what we do is we talk to folks that are making a positive difference in our communities and in our world. And, you know, the weather has changed a little bit. We're getting into fall weather. It's sweater weather and pumpkin spice time. Oh, boy. So I hope you're enjoying it. Today, though, we're going to talk about a very serious subject. We're going to talk about some things that are going on with our local Seattle Police Department. And I'm sure that most of you have heard about the incident where a young girl was killed, a 23-year-old girl, Jahnavi Kandula, was hit by a police officer that was rushing to respond to a call. And it was an accident. He was speeding to get to a call and he hit her. And but the video that has gone viral, and it's been all over the national news, and it went viral on Twitter and TikTok and all over social media. We're going to play that video for you now and let you hear it.
Yep. I'm sure TCIS is. And oh, he's good. He says, well, normally we don't give voluntary statements. And I said, hey, you're going to have to decide if you wanted to give a statement or not. But it does not seem like there's a criminal investigation going on. Otherwise, there would be other... What's that? Yeah. Otherwise, there might be other people arriving, correct? Yeah. I mean, he's going 50. That's not out of control. That's not reckless for a trained driver. Yeah. Lights and sirens. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some... Initially, he said she was in a crosswalk. There's a witness that says no, she wasn't. But that witness could be different because I don't think she was thrown 40 feet either. I think she went up on the hood, hit the windshield, then when he hit the brakes, flew off the car. But she is dead. No, it's a regular person. Yeah. Yeah, just write a check. Just... Yeah, $11,000. She was 26 anyway. She had limited value.
Okay, so let me give some context to this video. This was Officer Daniel Otterer, who is the vice president of SPOG, the police union, and he was called to investigate the accident where Officer Kevin Dave hit Miss Kandula, and he is reporting or talking on the phone to Mike Sloan, the president of the police union, about the accident and about this young woman's death. And of course, the things he says have just sparked community outrage. And some of you know, some of you don't, that I am the chair of Seattle Police Department's LGBTQ plus advisory council, community advisory council. And I have a guest coming on here with me today who's the chair of Seattle Police Department's African American Community Advisory Council. Please welcome Victoria Beach. Hey there.
Hi.
Yeah. We have, you and I have been in so many meetings about this incident, and we had another one last night at your advisory board meeting. And let's just talk about your reaction the first time you heard this.
I was in disbelief and horrified, pissed, angry, and but it quickly turned towards her family. Like, oh my gosh, they're gonna see and hear this video, and heartache for them. I can't imagine you talking about my child or a loved one that way. No matter what you say, there's no excuse. Absolutely no excuse.
No, because it seems like he's laughing about this young woman's death.
Right. And I know that they came out with a statement that is BS. It doesn't match up. You know, even if you're relaying a message or something, you don't laugh about it. You still don't laugh about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing too, right? Is that these two officers that are having this conversation are the leadership of our Seattle Police Union. They're the president and vice president of the Seattle Police Union. And that's a big, big deal.
Right. Yeah. And you know what bothers me is I know Mike was voted in. I don't know if the vice president is voted in or not. But look how many officers voted them in, and it makes me wonder, do they have that mentality? Do they think that way? Yeah. And if so, we're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know, you and I have been doing a lot of work to help rebuild relationships between our marginalized communities and Seattle Police Department, you know, because a lot of things over the years, of course, as we know, have gone wrong in that arena. And we've been working hard to rebuild some sort of trust and relationship. And then we feel like we were finally getting somewhere, and then this comes out. And I know my community, and I know you've had your community reach out and go, what the hell, you know, about this, right? How are we supposed to trust them?
Right. It has set us back. You know, also the day that I first heard that, I thought, I'm done not supporting them. I can't support them. You can't trust them. But then the next day I thought, you know what, my community needs me, and so do the good officers. There are a lot of good officers out there, and I need to support them. And I want people to know, I've talked to so many officers that feel exactly the way we do, you know, and they know that you and I are busting our butts to make a difference and a change and to hold them accountable.
Right.
So as hard as it is, I'm going to continue on, and hopefully they'll be held accountable, and we can move on and continue to build relationships, and most of all, trust.
Yes. Now, last night there was, so help me understand the relationship of the lady and the man that were there last night. They're not family of the young lady who was killed, but they're friends of the family, correct?
Well, no, I don't even think they know the family, but she's from the same town as.
So she's talked to her parents, the young woman's parents.
I don't know if she has. I know that their community has band together, and she knows somebody that is connected to the family. So she actually called me last Saturday, hysterical, and she said she was screaming and crying, and we used to be neighbors, and I love her, but that day I had enough. I mean, from people calling me, cussing me out, wanting me to do this or that. Well, I don't have the power to do that. But I get their rage and hurt. But she is talking with somebody that knows the family, and she's going to send all the pictures and the news video to them to show them that we stand with them.
Yes. And just so our audience understands that Miss Candela, who was the 23-year-old that was hit and killed, her family is in India. So her family is not here locally. So they're just hearing all of this. And they have, the woman expressed last night, heard that video, that body cam video from the officers, and were horrified, of course. You know, and like you said, I can't even imagine if that was a loved one of mine hearing that would just be awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no way to explain yourself out of that being okay.
No. And just when you played it, every time I hear it or see it, which I prefer not to, gosh, I just think, you know, I had a 23-year-old sister that passed away when I was 15, and it was malpractice. And I think about, if they dared laughed or mocked her, I'd want to do some serious harm to them.
Right. Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, it brings out rage. There's no doubt about it. And we're supposed to have faith that these are the people in uniform protecting us, not laughing at our demise. Right.
And I wonder how many more conversations that have been had like that about different other incidents that we'll never know. But I have to say, I know Mike very well. I've never trusted him, and I can only imagine what he was saying on the other end.
And just for reference for our audience, Mike is the president of the, he was the one that was on the other end of the phone that we couldn't hear his side of the conversation. And so, because the officer that was in the car, Otter, that his body cam went on without him knowing it. And so that's how we got this video. And even though this happened, the young lady lost her life about 6 months ago, right? The video was just recently leaked in July.
Right.
And it has gone crazy. So now the Office of Police Accountability is investigating. Now they are a separate entity, for everybody to understand, than the police department. So, you know, the police department is supposed to not have anything to do with the investigation, and they have up to 180 days to do this investigation. And did you feel like last night at the community meeting, the gal was there from OPA, the Office of Police Accountability? Did you feel like that helped at all, what she had to say about it?
I think a little bit, because she was able to tell the time frame, and she really can't talk about it either. But I think giving some information does give a little bit of the community does feel a little better. But you know, and that's what people were saying. If you would just communicate with us, even if you say I can't talk about it, communicate. And you heard my friend who's from India say, even if the chief came out and just said, I apologize, I don't condone this, and I can't discuss it. She said the community would feel better. But when you're silence, it's like you're siding with. And I know the chief, and you do too, very well. And
he's a good man.
He is very, very upset. And I'm sure he wants to speak, but he can't.
Right. And this is one of the problems, right? The police continually say to us, and our government says this all the time, we want to be more transparent. And yet they don't say anything. They don't tell us what's really going on, right? Because we live in a world where everybody's afraid of litigation. And due to that, you know, I have some friends from Canada that laugh at us because they kind of like, you all sue each other over everything, you know, like what is going on, right? Yeah. And it's true. And it causes this disconnect where they can't actually communicate much with us because the lawyers are telling them, don't say a word because it could come out in and be bad for us,
Yep. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and that's what holds the chief up from being able to say a lot. But let's go back to, I think one of the things that folks need to understand is, and you talk about this a lot in your meetings, and I'm glad you do, is that our police union has a great deal of power. So let's talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
They
people
go
need to
ahead.
pay more attention to it, is what I'm saying, and their contracts and how they negotiate things.
Right. And somebody brought up last night, our contract is different. The 5 African American police officers, and I don't remember what state, but beat that man to death.
Right.
Their chief was able to fire them on the spot.
Right.
And we don't have that type of contract, which
Yeah.
we need. So people need to be aware and follow and be a part of the negotiations and in the contract, because they have all the power.
Right.
Which is very scary.
It's really hard, because I'm sure you are too. I'm a very pro-union person for the most part, because people need rights and they need good health care and benefits. But the police union is very different, especially the one we have here has a great deal of power in protecting officers that have had a lot of complaints against them and done bad things. And I remember when Kathleen O'Toole was our chief, I was very close with her. In fact, she was at mine and my wife's wedding, and she brought me in to help create transgender policy for Seattle Police Department when we first started that whole ball game. But she was telling us just in private conversation that, she's trying to clear out some bad officers, but there's a whole list of, it takes some time because she has to document a whole bunch of things. She couldn't just get rid of them, even though she knew some of them were really bad.
Right.
Yeah.
The officer, what is his, Otterer?
Yeah.
Otterer. He has a long history of problems and has cost the city millions of dollars in lawsuits.
Yes.
He should have been gone.
And yet he's still vice president of the union.
Yes.
Yeah. I think they said since 2015, he's had like 18 complaints and lawsuits that have involved him. That's a lot.
Yes. I'm going to share this with you. I don't know if I told you this last night or not, and I can't say who it is, but somebody reached out to me, as many have, and her friend dated Otterer.
Okay.
For years, and said he's awful, that he is an awful man, and to make sure that I help go after him. Yeah. And this person said she was scared to even contact me and say it. I don't even know if I should be saying it now, but I just want people to know that are trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's not a good person.
Right.
He needs to go. And like I said, I know Mike, the president, and I've confronted him many times. He needs to go.
Yeah.
He needs to go and take whoever supports them with them. And we're low on numbers anyway in the police department. I'd rather have none than to have people like that.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'd rather have 5 good officers than 100 and only 5 or 10 of them are good. Yeah, forget about it. I'd rather just have the few that really they're here to serve. They really want to make a positive difference. As we know, some people get a badge or they get a little power in a position, and all of a sudden their ego jumps out and they think they can wheel it around and they're invincible, right? That they can do what they want. Yeah.
Right.
That's not the kind of people we want.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. This is a position where you have to build trust in community, and for community policing, which is what our chief wants and what we want, you have to build relationships with community. There has to be trust, because otherwise community won't even feel safe reaching out to you when something is going on where they need help.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't, you know.
Right.
And to be honest, uh I have been taken back
Yeah.
some. Like I said, I'm going to still support, but I'm not where I was before this happened.
Right.
I'm crushed, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
and so
and what can we do with the police union to get better leadership? Like, is there any way, that's a good question for us, that we as citizens can push our police union to change and get better leadership that actually represents, I think, more of our, because you and I know some of the officers that are very good people who really care, and they're horrified at this as well.
right,
Yeah.
they are. Uh, well, both vice president and president, they need to go.
Yeah.
You know, if they had any common sense, they would step down.
Right.
But I mean, I told Mike, the president, I told him you need to step down, and I said, but you're arrogant, and um, your ego won't let you.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah, they both, obviously their egos are, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a time in Seattle where the community is not going to let this go, and they shouldn't.
No, and one of the things we can do is put pressure on the mayor's office and the city council to do something about this, because they can get rid of the police department are employees of the city.
Right.
So they can get rid of people. Yeah.
Right.
And revamp the whole thing. So I think that that's what we need to do. That may be our main avenue. One of the things, just to end on a positive note, just because we're coming to a close, is that people can come to these community advisory board meetings, share your thoughts, and actually hear from the rest of the community. And there are always officers that come to give us updates on what's happening. And your meeting is every third Thursday, correct?
Right.
At Garfield
Right.
Community Center.
Yep. 6
Yes.
to 8.
Yes. And the LGBTQ community advisory, and you don't have to be African American to go to Vicky's.
No.
I go and support her all the time, and lots of community members do. And you don't have to be LGBTQ to come to ours. People come in community and support as well. But that's the specific type of community events and issues that we're talking about at those meetings. And mine is at the first Thursday. So our next one will be the first week of October. And it's also at Garfield Community Center. So we invite you all to come and be involved. Let us hear from you, and let the police hear from us, because we're not only trying to build relationships, right, between community and Seattle police officers, but we're also there to hold them accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not going to let them skate away with not doing the right
not
thing.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they know that we're there to try to help make relationships better, but also to hold their feet to the fire.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's the culture, right, that we're trying to change. And that takes a long time.
It is, but we can do it.
Yes.
We can do it.
Yeah, because we've seen that, we can't have a civil society without any policing. But obviously policing has needed to be revamped, because it's
right. We need them, whether people agree or not. We need them.
Yeah.
And you and I are going to make sure that we get the right ones and
Yes.
weed out the ones that shouldn't be there.
That's right. Both Vicky and I teach in the Before the Badge program. So we're meeting all the new recruits, and they take classes from us, and we talk with them and work with them. And we ask them, why do you want to be an officer? We try to get down to the nitty gritty about what motivates them to be there. And we challenge a lot of the things that they were socialized around and a lot of the biases they have.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're encouraged, aren't we, by these new recruits?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the change we want to see. There's a lot of good young energy coming in that really does care and wants to make a difference. And incidents like this affect them too. Then they question, wow, right? Do I really want to put that uniform on?
Yep. The sad thing is they are going to be on the receiving end and have the backlash from these two officers. And it's not right that they're going to get beat up because of what these two said.
That's so true. Yeah. So, folks, the big takeaway is get involved. Come to some of these advisory council meetings. Let your voice be heard. Meet some of the officers yourself and ask the questions you want and hear from them. And Vicki and I are here if you want to reach out, you have concerns, to support you and community. Thanks for the work you do, Vicki.
And thank you for the work you do.
We've got each other's back. Yes.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great weekend. And folks, this weekend, we have a doubleheader tonight of football. So go check out, Rainier Beach versus Ballard. And check that out. And then Roosevelt versus Franklin. Okay. So go enjoy some football and cheer the kids on. Have a great weekend.